Hello and welcome to the presentation of public-private partnerships from contested concepts to prevalent practice by Tom Bouverd. This presentation is of the group of Delhi 2. In his paper, Bouverd covers the following three main objectives. First, to explore and explain how the move to PPPs has happened by describing the potential purposes that PPPs might answer and exploring the types of partnerships that have already been applied to PPPs. Secondly, Bouverd explains the weaknesses by explaining why these partnerships can be seen as indicious and undesirable by some actors. Furthermore, the strengths by explaining that PPPs provide better scale, scope, and mutual learning. Lastly, Bouverd suggests what the future may hold for PPP by saying that the good governance approach and building trust for the long term are needed to be applied for a promising future. The main idea discussed by the author is that it has been shown that public agencies do not have the financial and technical capacity of solving wicked problems of the society alone. Therefore, the public sector needs to support from the private sector and non-profit organizations to deliver public services to its people. However, the public sector has to shift its role from controlling to more collaboration and negotiation relationship, while promoting good governance principle in order to achieve its objective of creating a livable environment of its people through the delivering good public services to all. Although PPPs is the approach aims to build the coalition between the public and private sectors, it somehow leads to the situation where no sectors want to get involved, take action or sacrifice their responsibilities on the project too much. The fear of losing the benefits or the powers on the policy making or planning might lead to the fragmentation among the coalition and no achievement to the project. There is a challenge of how to operate the coalition with just and good governance because it relevant to the acceptable and accountable of the process. So PPPs needs to consider this as one of the key components that support an overall achievement. It is a hard job to build a strong partnership since each partner has their own concerns, resources, powers or else, especially when every stakeholders need to protect their values and their benefits. The question left here is how to build meaningful partnerships and trust among the actors. Moreover, we need to argue that which tasks should belong to the public and the private sectors, such as should the public sector take responsibility on the structure level and infrastructure and left the service part to the private sector. Also, it's crucial to manage the power between each actor to reduce the friction during the process. One of the good quotations is come from Gordon Brown in 2003. He states that private finance initiative could improve the public service and the assumption about privatization is wrong. PFI helped the government to reach the goal effectively and efficiently by maintaining open and accountable relationship. In other words, PPPs is the solution for public sector to overcome financial and expertise problems on providing better public services. But PPPs also have consequences as stated by Loeffler in 1990. Structures and processes might be fragmented because each agency could claim that the partnership that should hold the accountability rather than itself. It is unclear who will be responsible for a risk. In Indonesia, nationally, the concepts used in PPPs have many similarities to those described in the article. Limited funding often becomes an obstacle in infrastructure provision, requiring the government to look for other mechanisms so that infrastructure can continue to be built even with the limited budget set. On the other hand, the government will ensure that the private party will get a reasonable return and is initiated to an agreement based on risk allocation. Despite many national projects have been successful, the use of PPPs in the regions and the cities have not been maximized. The main cause is the lack of understanding of relevant stakeholders about PPPs. The obstacle to implementing were also triggered by egocentric nature of each party. Other issues are land acquisition, uncertainty in the nature of private sector funds, clarity in projects and size, and the absence of regulations protecting the private sectors. One lesson learned is that the term PPP has various meanings. Its nature and role also differ per location, even within a country based on its context. PPP also differs in a public management system and business system. Therefore, there is no need to standardize its nature and roles, but explore them in their specific context. Also, PPP means multifaceted and not orderliness. Some authors like Loeffler 1990 identified major problem of the partnership approach to be fragmentation of structures and processes in partnership approach that brings about blurring in responsibility and accountability. The article recognized PPP as a young vehicle for the design and delivery of public value. No one can judge how important PPP will become in the future. Cost effectiveness and efficiency have been the mean of violating PPPs as compared to other available mechanisms of public policy and their corporate governance. PPPs will have to be subjected to the stringent test of how they comply with criteria of public governance in the future. This must be done with criteria which are genuinely appropriate. The ever-increasing pace of technological advancement does not allow municipalities and governments to stride in the city management. Hence, the need for involvement of private companies to run them. The article recognizes PPP's effect as the fear of some staff will work under worse conditions or lose their jobs under a new partner, but fail to talk about the empowerment and learning processes those staff could as well go through under the new partner.